the last line of that song, I give thanks for a mother's love. I have a tendency to like to change things. I give thanks for God being the mother's love, because the motherly love, and you heard in that meditation, was the divine feminine. Because we've all had experiences of mothers, and varied, every person in here, every person in our cyber sanctuary has had a different experience of mothers. Some of us had close relationships. Some of us had not close relationships, had no relationships, or very unfavorable relationships. So Mother's Day is a very interesting time. You know, people go looking for cards hoping to find one that says what they really mean, because they don't want to send something that doesn't mean what they really feel. Anybody here have the interesting thing about cards and trying to find something that is your words? So today is Mother's Day, and you know, it is a complex one, mothers. And you think about how many roles in their job description they get. I mean, you know, they were our first home, first of all. You know, no matter what your relationship with your mother was or is, you know, there was the time where they were the cook, the chef, they dressed you. They might have been the maid because they're cleaning. There's the chauffeur. There's the teacher. There's the disciplinarian role. There is the one that puts order into things. There's the counselor, I think I said disciplinarian, the advice giver. They have to be nurse at times. You fall down. They have to planner, wage earner, confident. They have so many roles. I don't know of any other job description that would carry so many aspects and various roles, right? How many of you are actual birth mothers? Would you stand so we can just honor you for having taken that on? Because I say, you know, and for those that are in our cyber sanctuary, I don't know how you did it and how you do it, and thank you for stepping up to that. Then thank you. You may be seated. I just want to honor you. I personally have enough of a thing just trying to raise my inner children, let alone think I'm responsible for a little one outside of myself. I was probably best. And I actually, at a young age, I think I made the decision not to have kids. Because as a young kid, I thought, these people don't know what they're doing. Right? You might have had that as well. And I said, I don't really want to have kids, because then I have to take care of them and figure out stuff and do all the things you have to do. And you know what? I don't have to have a child from my body in order to be a mom. There's enough unloved beings in the world that I can love beings. And I actually worked in a group home for abused and neglected kids for quite a few years. So during that 8 hours a day, I was their parent. And then I could go home, and I didn't have to continue the 24/7. So I got to have some of that role giving, because we did all the things that a parent would do. We helped them with their hygiene, their homework. We took them out on outings, the hospital, the grocery store. We fixed their food, all of that. So I did have a little taste of that. So I'm going to share with you some universal mom sayings. And I'm going to say the beginning, and we'll see if you can do the rest. Who do you think you are? Okay. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Don't roll your eyes. I'm going to give you to the count of 3. Oh, some of you didn't know that one. I'm going to give you the count of 3. Don't put that thing in your mouth because you don't know. You're really good at this. Okay, what do you have to wear? Wear clean. In case you get in and you have to go. Oh, God. Don't cross your eyes like that. One day, Yeah, right? Here's why. Because that's why. Oh, and the infamous. If such and such jumped off a cliff, right? Wait till your father. If you can't say something nice, now, isn't that interesting that we have different mothers and yet all of those sayings we pretty much know? They're universal. That just blows my mind. So, how many of you know when Mother's Day was first celebrated? Anybody? Oh, nobody knows. Okay, you're going to get a short history lesson. Aren't you lucky? So, the modern American holiday of Mother's Day was first celebrated in 1908. And that's when Anna Jarvis held a memorial for her mother in Grafton, West Virginia. Her campaign to make Mother's Day a recognized holiday in the United States actually began 3 years before that, 1905. And that was the year that her mom, Anna Reeves Jarvis, died. Anna's mission was to honor her mother by continuing work she had started and set a day aside to honor mothers. Anna's mother, Ann Jarvis, was a peace activist who cared for wounded soldiers on both sides of the Civil War. Due to the campaign efforts of Anna Jarvis, several states officially began recognizing Mother's Day, the first being in 1910, and that was in West Virginia, where they resided. It was in 1914. Who was the president in 1914? Starts with a W. Wilson. Woodrow Wilson. Very good. Signed the proclamation creating Mother's Day, the second May in Monday. Second Sunday in May, blah, blah, as a national holiday to honor mothers. Although Jarvis was successful in founding Mother's Day, she soon became resentful of the commercialization and angry that companies would profit from the holiday. By the early 20s, Hallmark and other companies had started selling Mother's Day cards. Jarvis became so embittered that what she saw by misinterpretation and exploitation that she protested and even tried to rescind Mother's Day. The holiday she'd worked so hard for was supposed to be about sentiment and not profit. She organized boycotts and threatened lawsuits to stop the commercialization. I know you didn't know any of this, right? She crashed a candy makers convention in Philadelphia in 1923, and she protested at a confab of American war mothers who were raising money by selling carnations, which of course is the flower associated with Mother's Day, and she was arrested for disturbing the peace, right? Jarvis's holiday was adopted by other countries and is celebrated all over the world. In this tradition, each person offers a gift or a card or remembrance towards their mothers, their grandmothers, or other maternal figures on that day. However, the original intention was to appreciate and to honor your mother by writing a handwritten letter of love and appreciation and gratitude. Now, you're all good with that, right? That's news to you. It was news to me. I was like, wow. So writing letters to your birth parents. And so we're honoring and giving appreciation to mothers. But not all mothers are birth mothers. In fact, there are many, many forms of mothering. And it's not just the birth mothers who come into that role. Irma Bombeck, who knows Irma Bombeck, right? She has a salute to non-mothers. I really like this, so I wanted to share it. Let's hear it for the non-mothers. There aren't any songs sung about them, and there aren't many appropriate cards written for them. There aren't any days set aside for them, but they exist. They are the people who experience all the joy, the caring, and the pain of motherhood. They just aren't there at delivery. Some non-mothers are disguised as teachers who spend more time with the children than the mothers. They're the ones who contribute ambition, hope, expertise, their time, and sense of self to the child. After all, isn't that what mothers are all about? Other non-mothers are brothers and sisters who share bedrooms and pizza and their lives. They take them to the bathroom, to the movies, and hold them when there is no parent there to hold them. Isn't that what a mother's all about? There's the father non-mother who pinch hits occasionally, or maybe all the time, at getting meals, mopping up or sitting through a pageant the mother can't be there for. He offers a backup system of support, of sharing and security. Isn't that what mothers are all about? Some non-mothers have experience. They're called grandparents. And whether their custody of a child is occasional, part-time, or full-time, they add to the children another dimension of another time, another set of values, an appreciation of things that endure. Isn't that what mothers are all about? There are non-mothers who touch a child's life in a million ways and who at first glance don't seem to fit the role. An angry motorist whom a child has never seen before yells at the child to get his tricycle out of the street. A guidance counselor who tells the child, "Get off your behind and do the work." A shop owner who chews out a child for lifting a piece of candy. At a moment when he needed it, he was picked up and pointed in the right direction by someone who took the time to care about him or her. Isn't that what mothers are all about? There are many ways that mothers actually show up in the world. When you stop to think about it, we have maybe a limited view of what mothers are. And actually, we all have the mothering principle within us. The feminine and the masculine are traits, and it doesn't depend on your gender. There's masculine traits, which are very linear, directive, focused, conscious thinking, and then you have the feminine nature, which is more receptive, which is flowing, which is more in the feeling elements, and we all have those. And I've done some workshops, heavy-duty ones, on the masculine and the feminine, and I run a lot of masculine energy. I have both. But to know when you're in your masculine energy and when you're in your feminine energy, and knowing that there is a time and a place for both of them. There's times where I need to be focused, and I'll be like, okay, I need to bring up my warrior self, my masculine, and focus. Because there's times where I'm just floating around, right? Anybody? Okay? So, in Genesis, it states, "And God created man," or humans. "In its image, in the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them." I heard a lot of he's in there. I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't believe that this passage refers specifically to gender. God, as we speak of God in unity, is not a person or personality. And that might be a little disturbing to you. And I'm going to speak more about that next week. But God in unity, by both Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, is a principle that never changes. It is changeless. It's the same all the time, everywhere. And it's the principle of love. It's the principle of wisdom, the principle of creativity. See, we have to have both masculine and feminine. And in the unity teachings, the masculine is that which chooses a thought. It's conscious. It chooses a thought, and it plants it, the seed of that thought, into the heart of the divine feminine, where it becomes feeling enriched and it becomes believed. So you can have a thought, but a thought turns into a belief when you add feeling to it and you accept it as true. See, a belief is a thought that you hold to be true, and it might not even be true. So it's the masculine that chooses a thought and then plants it into the soil where the birth mother holds it in feeling and acceptance, and then we have manifestation. So we're giving birth all the time. You ever have a new creation, a new idea, a new experience in life? We're always creating. We are the creative principle because we're made in the image and likeness of the creative principle. We cannot not create. It's just how conscious are we of what we're creating. So the whole thing about, how many of you have heard, "Our Father who art in heaven"? Right? We've all heard that. Our Father who art in heaven. And how many times do you hear God referred to in the He? Right? And so here's the thing. In Western culture, we get a lot of He in that. Now, the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda views the divine as the Divine Mother. Indigenous cultures see the Spirit of God as Goddess. Our earth is the mother. There is a lot more respect given to that which is the feminine nature of spirit. I remember the first time I heard a religious science minister refer to God as she, and I was so happy. And so you may hear me refer to her because she gets so much he attention that I'm trying to balance it out. So you can refer to God as he or she. It's gender full because it's all there is, and it's genderless if it's a principle. So this divine feminine energy is all that there really is. And we just need to understand that this is who we are. We are this principle of the divine feminine in expression. Now, I've been talking about different powers every month. And this month, we're talking about the power of, oh, good. It's only the second Sunday. Okay, I'll give you a break. It starts with a U. Understanding. Okay, and these powers or abilities are what we have inbred in us. The disciples all had a specific power or spiritual ability that we all have too. And the idea is to use that. So with the idea of understanding to me feels more like a feminine trait. It's, for instance, if you have knowledge, which is more of the masculine, you have knowledge and you've learned something on one side of your brain, but then you put it into the heart of understanding. You go underneath the surface. You go deeper. That is the divine feminine. So I want to talk about understanding and how important understanding is in relationships, interpersonal relationships. If you don't have understanding, what do you have instead? Confusion. What else? Judgment, disagreements, fights. Now, there's an aspect of understanding that really calls to me, and that is the word empathy. Empathy. The definition of empathy is that it is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to another's experience and feelings, imagining or having the capacity to imagine the feelings of another that you don't have. So it's being able to step outside of yourself to get somebody else's point of view. So would you like to be able to grow your capacity to be more understanding and to have empathy in relationships? Has anybody not? Okay, just checking. I would hope you all say yes. So how do we do that? Well, one of the people that I love his book, and it's in here somewhere. Yes, it's a book by Stephen Covey. How many are you familiar with the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? My favorite, and I got to study this in college in my communications class, was habit number 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Let's say that together. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Now, I don't know about you, but I think he's right on when he talks about the problems that we have, because we are usually we're either speaking or we're preparing our reply. We're preparing. Or how much do we really listen? Most people, he says, do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. They're either speaking or preparing to speak. They're filtering everything through their own paradigms, reading their autobiography into other people's lives. Right? Guilty. We are all beings who do this. It's not to judge or put ourselves down, just to understand. We have not been taught listening skills in school. I was 33 when I was in a college in the interpersonal communications class, and I'm like, I don't have some communication skills. How can that be? You know, I learned algebra, but I didn't learn listening skills and speaking and communication skills. I think there's a problem there. Goes on to say, when another person speaks, we're usually listening at one of four levels. We may be ignoring that person, not really listening at all. Okay, yeah, I know that's not any of you. We may practice pretending. That's when we're going, right, We might be doing selective listening, where we're just hearing certain parts of the conversation. Or maybe we're even the fourth one, which is attentive listening, where we're paying attention and focusing energy on the words that are being said. But few of us practice empathetic listening. When I say empathetic listening, I mean listening with intent to understand. That's huge. I mean seeking first to understand. To really understand, it's a different paradigm. Empathy and empathetic listening is when you get inside somebody else's reference, their personal reference. You look out through their eyes, and you see the world the way they see the world, and you understand how they feel. In empathetic listening, you listen with your ears, but also, more importantly, you listen with your eyes, and you listen with your heart. You listen for feeling and for meaning. You use your right brain as well as your left. Empathetic listening is so powerful because it gives you accurate data to work from instead of projecting your own autobiography into the scenery. You get to really listen and understand and receive the deep communication from another person's soul. To be empathetic, to be listening. Would you like to know the 4 steps? Oh, okay. And I'm going to use the acronym of first to, what was it again? What are we doing? Seek, that's the first word. Seek first to understand. So S. SC stands for set your intention. Set your intention. That's the S because you're using the first letters. So seek is to set your intention. I'm here to get what you're saying and to see things from your point of view, which means first, the F from first, is that I forget myself. Oh my God, can I actually forget myself and focus just on you? You know, that's the idea. I'm going to just focus on you. Liz, I'll pick you up later. What do you got for me? I want to get you. I want to really see it from your point of view. So then we got 2. The T from 2 is take the time. You have to take time. It's not I'll get it in a half a second or, 2 minutes. I'm going to take the time to really listen to you and see if I can get what you're saying. And that's the T. And then to understand is to use your understanding by checking to see if you really understand. You might think you do, but ask the question. And you want to go, here's the content. You want to rephrase the content. What I hear you saying is this, and you feel this way. You want to talk about the content and the feeling, and you want to see if you're right. So I'm going to go into a personal story about Mom. My mom's name is Carol. She passed in 2008, had a heart attack at age 70. I was the oldest of 3 kids, born in 60. And Mom was a good mom. And she took good care of us 3 kids. She was known as the angel of Center Road. She was just a really good mom and had us taking all of our piano lessons and voice lessons and swim lessons and ballet lessons. Even if you didn't like ballet, you still took ballet lessons and such, right? But she took good care of us and chauffeured us and was there and took care of our physical needs. And then what happened was, at age 10, sitting in the back of a car, I have this memory of her being ticked off, and she was driving the car, but she's kind of giving me the lecture. Like, she got a call from Mrs. Pruden, my 5th grade teacher, and Mrs. Pruden said, I got in a fight with Rennell Laszlo, and I was just this terrible kid, and I was causing all kinds of problems. And Mom's just like going off on me, and I'm just like, I never got a chance to share what happened in that situation with Rennell. I didn't get an opportunity to be listened to. It was one-sided, and that day, the first brick went in the wall. And you know what it's like. And then by the time I was a teenager, I did not talk to my mom. She would take me to work, and I'd be staring out the window the entire time, not talking. I moved out. It was when I read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. I had this something that came through, and it was like, you have relationships with women, but you don't talk about that with your moms or anything. So it just kind of said, I'm going to write her a letter. I wrote her a 14-page letter and kind of just thought, I'm going to share my experiences of the women that I've been with and how that worked or didn't work. I wrote my dad a letter, too. His was a page and a half. It was a business letter. But because that's how I related to Dad. And it was interesting. She just said, is there no more wall between us? And as I got older, I got to find out more about my mom. My mom's mom passed when she was 18. 2 years later, she had me. There was so much. My mom never talked about her mom, which bothered me. And I didn't and she died on Christmas Eve. So my mother was in a depression, usually, but had to hide it. And the thing is kids are smart. They know when you're hiding stuff or when you're not being authentic. So the part of me that just knew that Mom had things, and I actually thought she was a phony, because I knew that there was things, but she wasn't willing to share them because she didn't want to affect us in, that way. It's not to tell the truth, to keep the kids' spirits up. Moms do the best they know how. They're wounded, just like we are. And so how do we bypass that? And my mom and I got closer as time went on. I did my inner child work. The thing is I believe that we all have inner children. We have all those parts of us that are still can have a temper tantrum when you don't get your way. You know it. When you're too tired and you're hungry, you can cry like a baby, or, you think adults are stupid because they are, but you don't tell them. I have the part of me that's 4 years old and just wants to play and not do anything except play and not do big people stuff. Anybody? Right? Spent all my younger years wanting to grow up. Now I want to be a kid again. So I learned in therapy with a counselor to become the good mom to my inner children, because those parts of me still have needs. The parts of you that still have needs. And it's not somebody else's job. It's not my partner's job to give me what I need. It's my job to give me what I need. And it's not their responsibility. When I give myself what I need, then I usually get it from somebody else. It's a mirror effect, by the way. I'm not getting appreciation from other people. It's because I'm not appreciating myself. It's a mirror, everything. So you all have a stuffed animal somewhere nearby you. And I remember one of my first assignments with the therapist who said, I think we have inner children, not an inner child. My first assignment was to go buy a stuffed animal. And I bought a huge stuffed animal. We've now collected tons of them because they're good pets. They don't make a lot of noise and they're low maintenance. And so your fur babies, if you have one here or in our cyber sanctuary, I'm going to take you through a series of various scenarios where your stuffed baby is going to take on beingness as I invite you to have that. And if you don't have a stuffed animal, you could raise your hand and somebody might bring you one, or you can just imagine yourself holding one. Okay, so holding your stuffed animal, and this is what I used to do for my inner child, because how do you be two people at the same time? How do I be a good mom and a kid? This was able to do this when I could hold it near my chest as if it was a kid. So the first scenario I'm going to invite you, if you have a child that you gave birth to, if you have a puppy or a kitten, someone or something that you have created, built, something that you love with your entire mothering heart. And I just want you to hold that child and just be the mother's love to another being, to another, if it's a project, it's a community, something that is precious to your heart, and to fill it with the heart of the mother love. And now, taking a breath in, I invite you to see yourself as a child. See a smaller you. How old is that one? And I invite you to open the ears of your mother's good mom heart and ask the little you, what do you need from me? You might recall a time where you had needs and there was no one there for you. And you're here just to hear and to understand. What does your precious one need now from you? And listen. What I need is and see yourself attending to that need. Good. And so now, taking a breath in, releasing the image of your inner child presence, I want you to imagine your birth mother. And now see your birth mother as a child. Imagine your birth mother as a little one, 3, 4, 5 years old. Behold, your mother is her child self and what she might have needed that wasn't there for her. and from that mother soul that you are. See if you can extend your love to that child that was your mom and her needs. Now taking a breath in, I want you to imagine that surrounding you, there is a larger presence holding you as you hold the smaller you, your loved ones. This is the Divine Mother. And she speaks and says, I am the Divine Mother, present in all. I show up in all beings. And yet the human expression of the Mother, when we put all of our thoughts into our mothers to be all, they are wounded. And so we have disappointments. But I am that which is forgiveness and healing love. And so know that everywhere I go, I am the Divine Mother. You can call me by any name. Many call me Mary. And so we just know that that mother is there, and she says, I'm here to hold you and to guide you. I am here to support you. I'm here to raise you up, to be all that you came here to be. I am that is with you always.